Call the meeting to order at 5:30. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy. Now we will convene to close session to discuss Ed Code 35146, consideration of confidential matter, case number 2223-05 SD. Convene to open session. Report of action taken in closed session. Can I get a motion to approve case number 2223-05-SD?
I'll move that we approve case number 2223-05-SD.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Yes.
Trustee Wing.
Yes. I'd like to invite our students up from Marguerite Hahn for the flag salute.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Let's begin.
To the
The
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very cool. All right. Okay, so then we have Marguerite Hahn with student leadership.
All right, they're coming back. All right, good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Rachel Hankerson, principal of Hahn, and this is Alexis Duchant, Taylor Kane, Audrey Salas, sorry. And then Sloan Williamson may be coming. They were coming from singing lessons, so hopefully they make it. What their presentation is going to align with is LCAP 4, building and maintaining highly effective and relevant family community partnerships to increase student achievement and engagement in school. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the kids.
Our purpose is to make the school a better place and help build a better community. We meet every other week before school. 3 to 4 students meet from each 3rd to 5th grade class.
Friday are our spirit days, and we have spirit weeks like Dr. Seuss Week. CalSkate, we have monthly fun nights, and we have had recent mental sales. We're going to spend some of the money in our school garden and some for the students. Giving back. We have had a Noah food drive, and we've raised over 1,000 items.
We have sang Christmas carols at the Rohnert Park Retirement Center.
Not to,
We also brought them holiday cards.
Not too long ago, we did a staff kindness food card for our teachers. Panther News. Every Monday, students watch a video made by student leadership. In our videos, we use green screens and mics. We also include jokes and fun facts, also pictures from the week before. Here's an example of a Panther News.
So we thought we'd show you part of this week's Panther News.
Good morning. Today is Monday, March 13th.
Leprechauns love to garden. Why? Because they have green thumbs.
6 is said to be the perfect number because all its factors add up to 6. thing that brings you luck? My family and my friends bring me luck. Have any Lucky Charms? Yeah, I have this bracelet that I was wearing. I just happened to be wearing today. I wear it like on days when there's like a math test or like if I feel like it's not going to be a good day for like good luck. And yeah.
Stand for the pledge. Again? No.
All right. Any questions for them?
I have a question for you. Oh, sorry, I'm going to get yelled at. There we go. So how are the students picked that get to be on leadership? You don't know? Well, how did you, are the three of you on leadership?
Yes.
So how did you get on leadership?
Back to the microphone.
We get a paper to fill out, and like it like asks us like ways that we've like been like leaders and stuff like that. And if they think that you're a good pick, then they'll pick you. But also your class gets to vote if they think that you'd be a good leader for their class and be able to represent them.
Wow, fantastic. And do you have a teacher that helps you guys with leadership, or is it Miss Hankerson meeting with you in the morning? Who does it?
We have a couple of teachers. We have Mr. Kane, Miss Gamble, 2 5th grade teachers, and and Miss Talbot. Or no, sorry, hold on. Why are you guys telling me this? Okay, sorry. So Mr. Kane and Miss Gamble help with leadership, and Miss Dunbar and Miss Diaz also are leadership teachers.
Wonderful.
Shout out to Mr. Kane.
I'd like the record to show he's in the audience for those people watching in time.
So is Mrs. Talbot.
Oh yeah, also shout out to Mrs. Talbot.
Oh, there we go. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate it. Oh, come on down. Come on down. It's not too late.
Oh boy. It's all right, Sloan. Come on. Here. We're going to do like a lit on the stage.
Oh, you got that. You got that.
All right.
I'm short, but I can jump pretty well.
This is Sloan Williamson. Let's say hello. They did
Hi.
your part for you.
Yes. What?
It's okay. We're done.
Sloan, what do you like about being on student leadership?
I like having all the spirit weeks and getting him to count for all the classes.
Yeah. What's your favorite Spirit Week?
Dr. Seuss week.
Oh, fantastic. Do you have one coming up that you're looking forward to? If you could do any Spirit Week for the rest of the school year, what would you do?
Rainbow week.
What week?
We used to have a rainbow week.
Oh,
and
Rainbow
so
Week.
Each grade would dress in a different color.
Oh, I love that. Fantastic. All right. Well, the year's not over yet, Sloan, so I...
Thank you.
for coming. Can I shake your hand? Make it official. There you go. All right. Thank you guys for coming. This was really fantastic. We appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys.
Wonderful. Yes. All right. Thank you, Han, for coming out today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for parents and families for bringing your students and sharing them with us. We love having them up here. So, very good. All right. Item B, school safety strategies and protocols.
So I've working with our staff members. The board requested a presentation about some of the strategies that we have in place. So I invited Mr. Marshall to give us an overview of some of the tools that we have in terms of safety. We also, I believe, have our school resource officer here.
We do.
Yes, and interim principal Heather Remy is also here to tell the Rancho Cotati High School story on how they worked to increase the safety for our students. And we'll be doing a series of different things, but this is kind of the first presentation that we'll have for the board.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Perez. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, good to see you again. Tonight's presentation is one of 3, so it will not be, all of our safety practices. We just wanted to highlight some, and every month we'll come back and talk about some more. So one of the tools that we use is the Stop It app. Many of you have heard about that. It's an anonymous communication tool that we use. So far this year, we are now over 330 reports. And so what happens is students download this on their phone. There are posters around campus that tell them how to do that and give them the password. And then they enter a concern they have, and then that concern gets sent to site administration, and it goes to their desktops and to their phones. And if it's a really serious incident, then I get a phone call just to make sure that it's being dealt with, and then I call the site principal and say, hey, how's that going? Do you need any support? Do you need any follow-up? And then we go from there. And it's been a very effective tool. I would say conservatively, it has helped us intervene in hundreds of very serious cases where students are feeling bullied, harassed, whatever it might be, or they're in personal crisis, and we were able to get resources to that student right away. From a management perspective, one of the tools the management team uses is called GroupMe. It's a group texting app. And at the top there, you can see that's my computer screen. And we have 3 main groups. We have a cabinet group that can group text to each other. We have a principals group, and we have an all admin and district office group, which is much larger. And so as an example, when there was a potential student walkout on Wednesday in support of Montgomery High School, one of the ways we were keeping the various groups in the know about what was going on is through this app. And so if I were to click on the Big Team app and type something in, then 45 administrators and their support staff all get that message, and then they can send back. So at the bottom, you can see that's a photo I took of some students who are walking down East Cotati Avenue. And so I posted that on GroupMe so everyone could see that it was orderly and well under control. So that is one of the tools we use. We also use it, like when there's a weather event or anything like that. We also use it in combination with Google Meet. Sometimes Cabinet will jump on because texting has its limits and some things just have to be talked through. And if we're all at home, then, or at different sites, then we'll jump on and do it via Google Meet. Just to talk about some additional support staff that we've added this school year alone, for the very first time, we have 3 general education social workers. So they are at all of our secondary sites and 1 day a week at some of our elementary sites, and they are doing a terrific job. About half of their work is Tier 1 and Tier 2. So what that means is Tier 1 is they're pushing into classrooms or doing large groups. Tier 2 is small groups. So you might have students that are struggling in one area or another. The social worker will pull them together, like maybe 6 or 8 of them, and work with them for 8 weeks. And they'll meet once a week for 8 weeks to help them with whatever, the issue might be. At the elementary level, because we know that some teachers were struggling with behaviors, we hired 2 general education behaviorists. So these specialists are at 4 to 6 sites, depending, and what they do is they will go in and they'll observe a student in question to try to determine what's their trigger points, how might this teacher work with this child in a way that would be more beneficial, and then develop a plan and then work with that teacher. Also, our behavioralists will go into classrooms and work with teachers, with students that they know are high flyers, to help them manage those particular behaviors. And that has been a significant help. We also contract with SOS Counseling for our middle schools and high schools, but this year, we pushed, at the high school level, but this year they're new in the middle schools and elementary schools. So we have 17 days of coverage spread throughout all of our schools, including the high schools. And this is in addition to our special ed staff, in addition to our school counselors, our social workers, and our behaviorists. So that's a very robust service. We've also added a full-time assistant principal at Thomas Page Academy. And finally, we've added 3 additional campus supervisors just to the middle schools, because the principal said there that behavior was elevating and they'd like more eyes on students at break and lunch, and to help them during passing periods. And so that's been done. So we've added significant staff to support our students and our staff. And with that, I'm very excited to announce our school resource officer, Debbie Lamison. Come on up, Debbie. Here she is.
Hi, I'm the school resource officer, Debbie Lamison. I've been a police officer for 19 years, was a detective for 5 years, in and out of the fire service since we do police and fire. Secured the position as the SRO in August of last year. Went to various school resource officer trainings before starting in August. Our department puts us through a pretty rigid interview process. There were several people who were interested in the position, but of course, you know, department's very careful about who they put in the position, making sure that it's somebody with experience. I was the only one that was a mom, so I have plenty of mom experience. I've developed some amazing relationships with the kids. This has got to be the best position I've ever had. And I'm here for 4 years. I try to attend the monthly assistant principal and counseling meetings. I try to spend most of my time here on campus, but I am responsible for all the schools in the district. So I try to, you know, make a plan to kind of touch everyone, elementary schools, the junior highs. We just today solidified things with the restorative justice program. So it's a diversion program that I was trying to get implemented before I started in August. We've got it all down now so that when we have kids that are kind of in that gray area where they're not quite to where I need to cite them into the juvenile system or arrest them and take them to juvenile hall, we can use this restorative justice program. It's still the same citation, although it's not getting forwarded for prosecution, and the child and the parents and the victim have to agree to participate in the program, and it lasts for probably around 30 days. The child has to go to some counseling sessions. Everybody needs to be involved, and if they complete the program, then the citation goes away, and they never have to enter the juvenile system. So I'm plan to meet with the staff at Rancho and the other schools where I think it's necessary, so we can just get those kids that are kind of right there back over to the good side. So I love working with everybody in this district. Everybody is amazing. Our communication is great, and I just couldn't work with better people. I wish I could be at Rancho all the time, but, you know, try to get a couple of other school resource officers, hopefully when we're fully staffed. Thank you.
Great. Does anyone have a question before she walks?
Yeah, does anyone have a question for Debbie?
I have one question, but before anyone else.
Yeah, I have questions.
Oh,
Debbie, you're coming back up.
oh,
We are not.
sorry, I didn't.
Speaking of being a detective, no. Trustee Martin, do you have any questions for that?
I just wanted to say thank you. It's clear that you're in your element, and it's neat to just see your enthusiasm and your proactive approach.
Oh, you're welcome. I love these kids. I'd do anything for these kids. They're great.
Trustee Brown?
So my question is kind of a twofold question
Okay.
for Matt and for you. So I'm Billy, and I'm in school, and I'm misbehaving, and how do we, in addition to plans and stuff, how do you reach out to my parents or my guardians to work as a team to help steer me back? I mean, what's that connection? I heard about you coming into the school. I didn't hear about any link going back to the parents and, you know, working out that. So how's that work?
Yeah, so the way that works is Billy does something that is very concerning.
Right.
And we want to make sure that Billy understands the seriousness of, the offense. And so we will call Debbie and say, hey, can you come down and help us talk with Billy? And then we'll call the parents and ask them to come down. And so not only is it the school district saying, you know, we have some serious safety concerns around Billy because of X, Y, and Z, then Debbie could say yes, and we also have safety concerns in Roanoke Park Public Safety. And sometimes what Billy discloses means that we need to do a safety check at home, and then Debbie will often go to that home and do a safety check for us and then let us know exactly, you know, how that went.
Okay.
And it's great because Debbie has a relationship with so many of the kids. They know her, they're used to seeing her, and so the anxiety level is much lower. Well, plus she's just so dang friendly, you know?
Right.
So it's great having someone who's so well trained and such a people person, because it really makes a difference when you're talking to youth in stressful situations, and the parents, because they're just as stressed out.
Right. So put the other hat on. Now I'm the parent, and my Billy can do nothing wrong, and I'm in total denial about Billy being and not believing you. How do you convince me to change my attitude about my little Billy being perfect when he's not being perfect? What programs are there for that? I mean, you run into roadblocks.
Well,
And-
we also have the SAFE team. So that's our mobile crisis unit that we contract with. And they have a clinician that has a degree in psychology and an EMT, a medical trained person. And so what we'll do sometimes in those cases, or even, you know, with meeting with the families, we may have the SAFE team out there as well. And so that clinician may talk to the parents individually. I'll talk to the parents individually, but I need to take you out to coffee and talk to you about, you know, your child and what we can all do to help you and your child and change the environment in your household. You know, we'll do whatever it is we need to do. But, you know, obviously the presentation has to be, you know, kind of scripted, because we don't want people to get defensive, but we do want them to understand that we're concerned, and we're concerned about the whole family.
Sure. I mean, over the years, I've coached lots of youth sports teams, and my kids were involved in scouts and other things, and you can see the child that doesn't have the support at home. And unfortunately, those kids often struggle, type of thing. So the more support that we can give to those kids and direct towards those parents, then my little Billy doesn't go off track, type of thing. So, you know, the whole circle of the process is important, and especially for those kids that don't get the same, or the youth and those don't get the same support at home, you know, are struggling. So it's kind of full circle in trying to bring that back to solve the problems. So I appreciate all the work you're doing. I know it's a hard job.
Thank you.
Again, I like your enthusiasm. It's fun.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thanks, Debbie.
All right.
Trustee, we got two more. Don't you go yet.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Trustee Nelson.
I have a
Oh, I
question
got more
based
questions.
on, well, some letters that have come into me, as well as something you said about the possibility of having multiple SROs.
I'm hoping when we're fully staffed, when I don't know when that's going to be, it would be, I mean, we've talked about it, you know, the supervisors have talked about it, and it's not anything that's going to happen soon, unfortunately, but we do, you know, keep it on the list of priorities as far as the positions that we come up with at the department. You know, we tend to, you know, fill the detective positions first, but since I've been doing this, I think my command staff has seen now how important this is, and hopefully at the next supervisors meeting, when I talk about the restorative justice program, I can also address the fact that, you know, getting at least another SRO would be a great idea.
And so based on what you're saying, and it's my understanding that you work with our district through cooperation through Roanoke Park Public Safety. There's not like, it's not in our budget to get the SRO. It's in
Right, it would,
cooperation from
no,
public
our
safety.
department and the city pays for my salary, and we would, yeah, it would just be another person doing the same thing and the city paying for it.
Okay, and it's a 4-year position, you said?
I'm sorry?
Did you say it was a 4-year position?
Yes, it's a 3-year position with a 1-year extension. So as long as I want to stay the 4 years, which I am going to stay the 4 years, you'll have me till I think 2026.
Well, you see what happens when it's a lifetime job. You get a middle school named after you,
Yeah.
right?
Very good. So that kind of answers one of my questions is, so this is a position that's funded through Roanoke Park Public Safety.
Yes.
And so this is like your beat, so to speak, or your assignment is school. So if we did want another one or more, or a half a position or something like that, is that something that we would kind of request to Roanoke Park, or are we just at their mercy, or what do we, kind of how does this, I know that it comes about a little bit with you saying, hey, I would like to do, this is a good thing for the community, but if our school, if we decide, hey, this is a really important critical spot for our school safety, is that something that we can also push and influence? Is that, I don't know, who knows?
Well, we can ask, it sounds like at the 2x2 meeting, 2x2 meeting is coming up. However, it's not within our budget parameters or anything. We can request, we can't.
We can certainly do that, and I can see, the police chief and I have we have each other's cell phone number. We are in communication. We're all in communication. That is the beauty of Roanoke Park Public Safety. The phone lines and the communication. We've had meetings with several officers, so that's something that we can certainly do. I just learned. I'm like, we can get more. I mean, I'd love to have another officer supporting Debbie, because I think it's just a positive role. Any time that a police officer can connect with the community, with students, with our schools, it makes a difference. The other thing about Roanoke Park, they've gone in teams to our schools, and they're there lunchtime, and they're with the kids, and they're dancing, and they're handing out stickers. And believe me, it's a great day when we have that partnership and that community. But we can certainly look into that. And I'll let you know what I find out.
And then the last one I have is, you had mentioned, citing students, or hopefully getting to them before it becomes a citation. Are you meaning citing students like when they're out and about in Roanoke Park, or citing students actually at Rancho Cotati? Like, I saw you do something illegal on campus, and now I'm citing you. Or is
We could do it both ways. We're going to use it both ways. Right now, what we're going to do, since the program is new to us, I'll be the only one doing the citations, and then I will be getting together with the school administrators and talking to them about kids that they identify as well. The good thing is that everyone at Rancho and the other schools, all the admin, we all talk a lot. If they identify a kid and they don't think I know about it, they get a hold of me, and vice versa. So if they think there's a kid that could benefit from this program, we'll all sit down, and then I'll be writing the referrals. And yeah, and if kids are out doing something on the weekend and they vandalize something and they cause $5,000 worth of damage, we'll cite them like that also. It's not just in the schools.
Okay. But like, I'm making this very simple. So if all of a sudden you are walking behind the tag building and you see a student smoking, that's under, a 14-year-old freshman smoking, are you going to give them a citation ticket, or is that more of a school issue where they get sent to the principal's office and get told smoking's
that's
bad?
going to be a school issue for now, because I don't want to, take something like that and make the restorative justice people deal with it.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's something the school can deal with. I can be involved in that too, and we'll deal with it at the school level.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
just get more clarity about what citations
No,
are
we're not
going
gonna
on.
just
And
hand them out.
yeah, like parking
No.
you get a parking ticket, and you get, I've seen how some
No,
of
when
these
they do that,
kids
I
drive.
I just take their phone.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. So.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay, quickly, some outside agencies that we work with. We work with Sonoma County Mental Health, and that would be Team Success and SOS Counseling. And Angie will talk more about Team Success at our next meeting. We work with Seneca Family Agencies that provide wraparound services for some of our most needy students. We have after-school support with the YMCA. For students that are chronically absent, we contract with Sonoma County Probation, and they have a Keeping Kids in School program. So Hernan is our case counselor, and he goes out and he meets with families and finds out what's the barrier to getting your kid to school, and he provides services. So he'll even knock on the doors and make sure that the students on his caseload get to school. So that's really cool. We talked a little bit about the Child Parenting Institute and how they offer community and parent classes. We contract with Maria Freebairn Smith. She's our restorative specialist through Community Circle Keepers. PBIS is through the Placer County Office of Education. And of course, with SCO, we get a lot of professional development and attend workshops and other resources there. And we have the SAFE team. They're specialized assistance for everyone. That's what SAFE stands for. And sometimes when a student is in crisis, we'll call them and they'll come down, and they have a licensed clinical social worker specialist with them at all times. Sometimes we'll call Debbie, our SRO, and then she'll evaluate the situation and say, well, I think we ought to get the SAFE team down. And then the SAFE team arrives on our campus and does the evaluation. And of course, we have a great standing relationship with Rohnert Park Public Safety and the Cotati Police Department. They're both great to work with. I know the text numbers of many officers, and we're always communicating about our kids. And to kind of give you an inside perspective, Principal Ramey is here to talk about Rancho Cotati High School and some of their campus safety practices. Heather?
Good evening, thanks for having me. I wanted to speak a little bit today about some of the work that we've done at Rancho over the last 5 years to reduce school violence on our campus. We've taken a three-pronged approach, taken aspects of all three of these strategies, restorative, PBIS, and progressive discipline, to work with our families and work with our students to reduce fights, school violence on campus. So when you talk about restorative, what we mean is a framework more than anything, and that framework is building relationships and working with our students and working with our parents. That is often done through conferences. I know you asked earlier about the parent involvement. Parents are involved right away in any discipline issue with our students. We call them the day of, that we find out about it. We invite them down for a conference. We use restorative justice as a framework so that the students are learning from the offensive they've committed. It's not, I did this thing that's bad, and here's my punishment, and goodbye, okay? But we do also do punishments, the progressive discipline, but it's really about the marrying of all three strategies. The other main piece of restorative justice that we employ at Rancho is conflict mediations. We do these all the time. We get the students in the room and we talk it out. Because we all know that when kids have a conflict with each other, they are not just gonna let it go. So we sit down, we have amazing counselors and administrators who do these mediations, and we sit for as long as it takes. I've been in these mediations for hours. We don't stop until we get to the bottom of it. And we also have referrals to counseling services. I know that Mr. Marshall just went through all those counseling services. Those are very much available to all of our students at our site. If our students want to see a counselor, we have one for them. There's not a wait list for 6 months out. They're available. PBIS is a large intricate system of positive behaviors, positive behavior systems. We at Rancho don't subscribe to the exact package of PBIS through the Placer County of Education that the rest of the district did adopt. But what we did is we looked at that, and once again, we took the framework, and we applied what worked for us at our site. And so the first thing you'll see up there under PBIS is classroom presentations. And this has made a huge impact on our students understanding the expectations on campus. It sounds basic to us, but our students are not reading the handbook. They're not. They're just gonna go do what they're gonna do unless they know they're not supposed to do it. And so what we do is we go in every single quarter, and an assistant principal goes to every second period class and presents a series of expectations. We don't do them all at once. We choose the most relevant ones. And the framework is we tell students first what we want them to do. So for example, with fighting or violence, what do we want you to do? Find a nonviolent way, right? And then we give them the supports in those slides and within those presentations and the tools for how to do that. Not just we want you not to fight, right? Or we want you to talk it out. But we say this is how we expect you to talk it out. This is who we expect you to go to for support if you need that support. And then we give them that contact information. And we say these are all the different ways that you can get support at Rancho. And furthermore, we expect you to do that because there's no need to fight. And then we go through what we don't want them to do, the consequences, and those presentations that happen every quarter are highly effective because not everyone's on the same page. And all the kids understand what we expect of them and what's gonna happen if they don't meet those expectations. The following two things I've listed under PBIS are detailed incident analysis and database interventions. So the PBIS program comes with a system called Swiss that we don't actually use at Rancho. We use a system called Excel, but it's very much the same, meaning that we list the incidents, the date, the time, the students involved, the location, and then we identify any other important information about those incidents. And then we have a targeted database intervention that we put into place, depending on whatever the issue is that we're having. So back in 2018, it was fights. We were having a lot of them that year, so we got together and we said, all right, this is where they're happening, this is who, and we targeted and had specific interventions to reduce them. And last but not least, what you all know about progressive discipline, we use loss of privileges, we use behavior contracts, which are very effective. We have non-aggression contracts, and we have stay safe contracts. We have detention, of course, suspension and expulsion. And whenever we do a progressive discipline step, what you think of as your traditional discipline, we always pair it with restorative and PBIS, meaning that we focus on the positive when we're sitting with students. We always suspend with a smile. And we always focus on what it is we want them to do better and encouraging them and connecting them to activities on campus. And then there's expulsion. And expulsion is a really important tool for those students who these strategies were unable to reach them or they have done something that is really dangerous and unacceptable, and Debbie is involved in a punitive way. And I just really want to thank the district, Mr. Marshall and Dr. Perez and the board for taking our expulsions and taking them seriously and hearing them out and following through, because it's because of your willingness to do that that our campus is safe. Because it really does make a huge difference when students see, oh, this kid did this and he doesn't go to school here anymore. And we don't do it very often, but when we do it, it's serious and it really does make a difference on campus. So I wanted to thank you for that. And Officer Debbie actually helps with all three of these approaches. She's not just in the expulsion progressive discipline category. She is constantly building relationships with students. Good, she's still here. She's out, she's talking to them, she's always at the square at lunch, she's in the quad. She is that person who knows the kids on campus. And so she helps so much when we do the PBIS expectations, the presentations. This is what we expect. And then Debbie says, yeah, and then here's this perspective also from law enforcement. Because there's the school rules, and then there's the real world rules, and there's overlap. And so she can really help educate about that. So her presence on campus is absolutely invaluable. It's amazing. She enriches our campus, not just keeps it safe. She really does. And the results of these strategies over the last 5 years, let me look here, that's small for me to read. We had a 53% reduction in school violence from 2018 to now, and it has held. I know there was COVID in there. There was. That violence then, but it has held over the last 2 years. And as a result of that, also a 42% decrease in our suspension rate because there are fewer fights.
Thank you. I have a couple questions, but does anyone else have any questions for Principal Ramey?
Yes. So you said it started 5 years ago, or you just kept data for 5 years?
We started the PBIS and restorative strategies 5 years ago, Matt. Is that right as far as districts too?
About 5 years ago.
Yeah, about 5 years ago.
Okay.
They were also rolled out at the district level.
Right. And then I just wanted to say, I like this. It tells me that we're keeping up with the times. Back in my day, it seemed like progressive discipline did the trick, but that's no longer doing the trick. So we've got to change with the times, and I'm glad that we're doing this.
So, question I have, when we go through PBIS to explaining, does David and Naomi and do the parents understand what the showstoppers are, what the serious things are that'll get you expelled? Do you realize, do students know that? Do you have a good feeling that all our students, if you bring a weapon, so here's a question I'm going to pose. I've had 3 kids that go through this school, and I have grandkids going through right now. So what if, and I'm a straight A student, and my little Billy's a straight A student, and he's the captain of the football team, and he's on ASB, and he brings a knife to school that's bigger than should be and should be arrested, and the parent and the board members go, no, not my Billy, give me a get out of jail thing. I hope you would tell me, no, this is the rule, and Billy needs to go get expelled, and there's no exceptions. So I hope that's the case. Having been in this district for a long time and in this community since '71, I think there's been exceptions, from behaviors type of thing. So I hope that concrete process is in there. And then if I am the parent of the stellar student that makes a serious mistake, there needs to be serious consequences so that, these 2 students on this side realize that, what I did is wrong and I got to serve the penalty for that type of thing. So just, for those serious things that really bring safety into the school. So whatever those things are. So I hope students have a good understanding of that. If that's explained in PBIS, do you go through the things that you will get expelled for? Weapons?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We don't do them all at once, like I said, but
Okay.
yes, we do. Mm-hmm.
So it's real clear.
Mm-hmm.
There's no exceptions. You're not going to put me through restorative justice, to try to, I've made that mistake. I've made, so.
We often do them in tandem. So we,
Pardon me?
We often do them in tandem, so we will expel a student and refer them to restorative justice.
Okay.
Yeah. Through restorative resources, right?
Yep.
And then my question is, this is a harder question, how do we know that your 1,200, 1,300 students that come on this campus aren't carrying something in their backpack? We don't know, right?
We don't know what everybody has in their backpack,
Right.
of course. But we do keep a really close eye on our students. And the way that we can do that with 1,600 students is because of our students. So and this is another thing that we talk about in the classroom presentations, is that we expect students to tell us if they see something that shouldn't be happening. And I can tell you they do. They use Stop It. I just got one on my phone last night. They tell a teacher, they tell a staff member, they come tell us, or the really shy ones will tell their parents and the parents will call us. And it's those eyes and ears that really keep our campus safe. It's a community effort.
At one time, this campus had lockers. There's no more lockers here. When I was in high school, we had lockers, and so some students would use their locker as a storage facility in addition for books and other things. So, that's one thing. So, do we ever, I know it breaks down the trust, but do we ever do a search of backpacks for everybody on any given day at any given time? I know that's not done, but, I don't know if we want to go that place, but, if you establish trust, but, trust is good until it's broken. So has anyone suggested that, or are there sites doing that?
Left to do that, we would need reasonable suspicion, and the police would need probable cause. So if we had reasonable suspicion, like let's say we knew that we got a Stop It notification that said that Joey has a knife in his backpack, well, we would go down to Joey's classroom and ask him if he could come up with us. We would hold his backpack for him as we go up to the office, and then with 2 people present, we would ask permission to search. Just because it's a nice thing to do, we would search it anyway, and then we would go through the backpack. And then we would immediately notify the parents and let them know, that we have searched, the student. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, we don't find anything, but if we do, there are significant consequences for bringing a weapon on campus every time.
Right. You know, I realize the stop it thing and that, it's just, I've had people ask me about that. I go to a venue for sporting events or concert, they check everybody. We don't have the staff to check everybody. This is a check. Your students know what the thing, but if, I can just say, well, why didn't, I can hear, parents from the Montgomery, why weren't all backpacks checked, type of thing. And then later on, a week later, 2 kids had knives, it was in the paper, they got sent home, and then the police came in and arrested them. So I don't know what the situation is. Our resource officers probably got a much better beat on that, being, on campus type of thing. The stop it and other things. I'm just asking the devil's advocate question. Do we ever do or schools ever do that? Okay, on this day like a fire drill, we're gonna, everyone open up their backpack and show me. But I guess we're not doing that.
No, we
Or
don't
has
do
that been done at schools?
Not like that, Lev.
Okay.
No. I mean, it would have to be a significant event for us to
Right.
do anything like that.
Okay.
If we had notification that someone in this corner of the classroom has something.
I totally understand that.
then
I'm saying that we've built an area of trust.
We have.
I'm
Absolutely.
saying, is there one more extra security thing that is necessary, or if it's not, you tell me it's not. You're the professionals, you're here every day. I'm putting it out on the table, of every possible way we can make it safe for kids.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
we've taken down all the fences. That doesn't prevent people from outside our school coming in, type of thing. And so, I understand the pros and cons of both. I'm just causing discussion.
I appreciate that, Lev.
Okay.
And I will always throw my hat in the corner of building relationships with the kids, because they are our greatest defense. And
Right.
they know when their peer is doing something wrong, and 9 times out of 10 or even more, they let us know. And then we take, prompt, appropriate action every time.
To play the devil's advocate, before you said 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I know.
I
As
want
soon as
10
I
out of
said
10.
that, I said, oh, I should have said
I want 10
99
out of 10. I don't
100.
want 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
Sitting
yeah.
up here,
Yeah.
as a parent, a grandparent, I want 10 out of 10.
We understand that.
Right.
And we
Right. And I think you do too. It was just a
Yes.
cliche what you
Yeah,
said.
it was, and I apologize for
But I just want to say that whatever I can do to make it 10 out of 10 or 11 out of 10,
As long as it's legally defensible, Lev, I agree with you.
Right. No, I understand.
Yes.
I understand.
Trustee Nelson? Do you have any questions? I just had a couple. So these are great for, the offenders, and the restorative justice is building the relationships. What do we do for the victims of these crimes, or when someone is, obviously if someone's in a fight, someone has won and someone's lost, or maybe they're both just but what are we doing for our victims? How are we making sure that they're not going to come back and retaliate later, take matters into their own hands? I, as a parent, have told my child his new instruction is run. Like, it's everything against a father teaching a son growing up, but we've told him just run away, don't even get involved. But what are we doing with our victims, and how do we make sure they don't come back with a vengeance the next day?
Yeah, we do everything we possibly can. So we make sure that the victims and the victim's family are involved in the incident from the very beginning. I ask all of my assistant principals to make sure that they ask both the student victim and the parents, what do they need to feel safe on campus? I say you need to ask that open-ended question. And I'm not saying we can guarantee everything they say, right? Because if they say search everyone backpack, I'm say, sorry, we can't do that, right? But we make sure that that's our starting point. And we do absolutely everything that we can to make sure that they feel safe on campus. Retaliation is not okay. We make sure that they know that that's also a violation of Ed Code and is a suspendable offense. We make sure that the offenders know that as well. So when we sit down with them and do the suspension or whatever the discipline is, we say, if you retaliate against this, it's considered harassment of a witness and you'll be suspended again. So this means, and we go through social media, text message, in person, using another person as your proxy to get a message to them. And we review it all. And we actually have very little retaliation because we go through it in such detail like that. I'm not saying it never happens. But you guys usually take those cases for us when what we do doesn't work with the kid,
Right.
And those are those few cases where expulsion is necessary because we've done everything we can. But it's paramount.
And then are teachers and staff made aware? I mean, obviously, if there's a huge fight at school, probably everybody knows within minutes. But are teachers made aware that, hey, David's been picked on and was the victim of a crime, and so can you watch out for? I know you weren't David, but I'm just going to use you as an example today. But are his teachers and coaches and stuff made aware so that they can also just keep an eye on him and make sure that he has the support that he needs and that everything's going well? And
yes,
because everything seems well in a office environment, then you get out there in the real world and tempers flare or friends rile you up and be like, man, that wasn't right what happened to you, or different things like that. So
we do, and we also make specific safety plans for those students in those conversations where we have, and what do you need to feel safe on campus? Where we sit down with the student and we say, okay, what are your classes? Who are your teachers? We've gone to such detail. I should look back at it. Ms. Cardina's done so many of these. We do walking paths through the campus, right? So you think you might see this student, right? You usually see them over at the tag building. Okay, well, you don't have classes in the tag building. So how about, go over there, right? Like, can we make these agreements? And then we give those safety plans to the teachers. And we say, if the student, and sometimes we'll even come up with code words or signals, right? Whatever works. So that they don't have to interrupt the teacher while they're teaching, but they can come up with some sort of signal where they say, I need to step out, I need to take a break, I need to go see my counselor, I need to call my mom.
Great.
And we make sure that's out to all the staff who interact with the student.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Cool. I did have some stop-it questions, but I wasn't sure if you had more to go, Matt. So
This was the last
Okay.
slide. Well, here, yes, we have more to go. Question.
there we go. So for the stop-it, I guess one of the things that I hope in the next couple weeks is that we can get information to all families and parents and teachers. Teachers may already know this, and students, that if I see something or know something, it is second nature. This is exactly what I do. Like, I'm a parent of this district. I don't have Stop It on my phone. I should, but I will admit that I attempted to figure out how to get it on, and I can't quite figure that out. So I will figure that out. But I don't know
We
if
can make that happen.
Yeah, I don't know if we need a banner. Just with everything going on right now, I don't want anybody to say, well, I didn't know who to tell, or I didn't know how to do it. And so if it's a banner on our CRPUSD webpage that's like, this is how you download this Stop It app, or text this number to do something. I know I've said it before, it's a little weird to me that we use an app to say this is how you're going to report things, but then not all of our students are allowed to use their cell phones on campus. So it's a little bit of a disconnect to me. I know at the ranch they're allowed to, but at LJ, if you get caught using your phone on campus, it's going to get taken away. So we can't really use an app.
Right, but they can
to
tell
help.
their teacher, campus supervisor, an administrator,
Yeah,
office secretary.
It kind of weirds me out, though, that we have a safety thing that students are prevented from using.
Okay.
Just my weirdness of it. I don't know if we can get it in their Google Classroom, like if the app can be downloaded into their Google Classroom account, and that's how they could access it, maybe, if they're
Or on the dashboard?
or on the their dashboard or something like that. Because I could also see a student using the app and someone be like, "What are you doing? Who are you? Why are you using that app?" And so if it's on there, I'm just emailing my teacher quick something. Just trying to make it as simple and not. Because students do get scared to report things, so making it as simple and easy, and no one's going to know it was you, and same thing with parents too, because I have found how, driving in the front seat of the car and the kids are in the back seat, they forget that you can hear them, which is amazing at times, because there's wonderful things that occur when the students forget that there's no divider. This isn't like, I'm not actually your chauffeur with a divider in between us, and so, they come home and say, so-and-so was, might do something tomorrow, or this person had this, or I just want to make sure that people feel comfortable and that everyone knows it's also their responsibility. If your student comes home, even if you think they're lying or telling a story or it's not really true, I'd hate for the next day to find out, oh, I guess it really was true.
Right.
So,
Right, exactly. Right.
yeah. And so maybe just even more in our district communications of like, if you see something, please say something, because it's going to take all of us to keep everybody safe. So,
Agreed.
yeah. And thank you for putting this together. I really appreciate it and look forward to.
And I just want to add that we have put together a publication, and I just got about 5 new ideas to add to that publication, but we really wanted to share with our community how we, keep kiddos safe. So we put something together. Mr. Marshall has looked at it, so maybe we can add the Stop It app directions and get, more comprehensive information out to the families so that it's at their fingertips. And
Yeah,
then
we have a
we'll
whole
work.
enrollment kit for Stop It with PDFs
Yeah.
for every school. It's all ready to go.
Right, so we will include that in so that our families get that first thing, and we'll be talking to Mr. Kirby about adding it, as a button or a banner on our website as well. Any ideas are truly appreciated, and we will get that out to our families and community.
Yeah, I think just the more information right now is, I'd rather people be like, okay, I got it, than I don't know, So, thank you. Any other questions or discussion or anything else? Thank you both again, and I don't know if Debbie's still back there, but thank you. And
Yep.
oh, thank you. We really appreciate it. And
Good job.
yes, thank you. Hold on, smile for the photo. Hold on, Matt.
Oh, are we getting photo?
Uh-oh. Wait,
We're just waiting for Mr. Marshall there.
I'm going to get on the other side of this superstar.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Uh-oh. I think the laptop just pooped out.
Oh, that's okay. I don't think. Reports and communications, student board member reports. And if I understand correctly, I think we're in for a treat tonight, right? A little extra? All right. David, why don't you go first?
All right, good evening, school board. Tonight I'll be giving the same report as last week, but in Spanish, knowing that much of our community are Spanish speakers. So this is to go out to, families and parents who don't understand the Spanish or the English side of the report. So, buenas noches, Junta Escolar. Felicitaciones a la Guardia de la Bandera de Rancho por obtener el primer lugar en su primera competencia en San Mateo el 25 de febrero. Hace 3 semanas se envió una encuesta a los estudiantes sobre lo que a nuestros estudiantes les gustaría tener en cuanto a la semana de espíritu escolar para el baile de prom. Recibimos muchas respuestas y algunos de los días de espíritu más comunes que a nosotros estudiantes les gustaría tener son Día del año 2000, Día de pijamas, Día de playera favorita, Día de vestir de negro y Rancho Blowout. Sobre el tema de baile de prom, nuestro baile de prom se llevará a cabo el 29 de abril en Sonoma Raceway con el tema Masquerade. Las aplicaciones para ser miembro de ASB todavía están abiertas y deben presentar el 29 de marzo en el Centro de Actividades Estudiantiles. Y las aplicaciones para ser miembro de ejecutivo se vencen el 14 de marzo. Nuestras elecciones para futuros miembros de Junta Ejecutiva han sido reprogramadas. Ahora se llevará a cabo el 28 de marzo. La señora Holman, Munsky, Sewell y Ballou asistieron a cada asociación de directores de actividades de California del 28 de febrero al 4 de marzo para obtener más información sobre la racionalización de la recaudación de fondos con ASB y cómo levantar el espíritu abriendo una tienda de estudiantes. También aprendieron cómo simplificar el asesoramiento de consejos de clases. La señora Human presentó a una sala de asesores cómo producir nuestra exitosa semana de la unidad. También se conectaron con docenas de otras escuelas para aprender sobre las mejores prácticas. Club Ambiental está buscando estudiantes que quieran diseñar o modelar en el desfile de moda basura, Trash and Show, este mes de abril. Se está interesado, comuníquese con olivia.tyke@crpusd.org. Tendremos nuestra semana de espíritu del 27 al 31 de marzo. Lunes, suele contra slump, usa ropa de entrenamiento o ropa de salón. Martes, matemáticas contra deportistas, presume de inteligencia o deportividad. Miércoles, colores fosforescentes contra vestir de negro. Jueves, vaquero contra club de campo. Viernes, clase contra clase. La clase usará el color de su grado. El espectáculo anual de talentos de rancho está de vuelta. El último día para inscribirse es el 3 de abril. Las audiciones serán del 3 al 7 de abril. Nuestro Rancho Student Lounge está abierto todos los jueves en la biblioteca de 3:30 al 4:30. Es un espacio tranquilo para estudiar, obtener apoyo de tutoría y habrá bocadillos. Comencemos a ofrecer desayuno antes de la segunda clase para los estudiantes que no tienen una primera clase. Esta semana tenemos finales. Buena suerte, Cougars. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Naomi.
This report will be different from the previous ones. I will share this month's report in Spanish. It is the same as the last time. I am aware that in our community, there are many people who don't understand English, as my first language was Spanish. I'm proud to be here to represent my heritage and inform the Hispanic community about the events that Technology High School has had. Buenas noches y gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Terminamos el mes de febrero asistiendo a John Reed. Fuimos invitados para ser invitados especiales a acompañar a leer libros a los niños para celebrar la Semana de Lectura a través de América. Un estudiante de ASB fue asignado a cada salón de clases para leer un libro. El día de espíritu escolar era día del deporte, así que nos presentamos vistiendo nuestras camisetas deportivas favoritas. Leímos un libro, pero también compartimos más sobre nosotros y animamos a los niños a seguir leyendo y expandir su creatividad. Pude leer un libro a una clase de segundo grado. Fue una experiencia memorable. A ver a los niños comparar la moraleja del libro con su propia experiencia personal y escuchar que su experiencia fue aún más especial para mí. También pude asistir al salón de clases anterior de la última vez que asistí y fui a ver a los niños aún recordar quién era yo hizo que mi corazón se derritiera. Ver el impacto que tuve junto con mis compañeros de clase de ASB, realmente nos enorgullece compartir estas experiencias con nuestra comunidad. Una tradición que sigue teniendo el Club de Robótica para recaudar fondos es el All-Nighter. El All-Nighter es donde mis compañeros pasan toda la noche en la escuela jugando videojuegos, siendo supervisados por maestros. Con este evento, ellos recaudan dinero que les permiten competir y ampliar sus habilidades. Se llevó a cabo el viernes 3 de marzo y desafortunadamente tuvo que terminar antes de tiempo debido a los problemas de internet, pero el Club de Robótica pudo ser flexible. Dadas las circunstancias, el evento tuvo mucho éxito ya que vendieron 100 boletos y recaudaron alrededor de $2,000 para su programa de robótica. En este momento me gustaría reconocer a mis compañeros de clase y compartir más sobre el impacto que están haciendo. Joseph, que va en segundo año, se convirtió en un estudiante visionario del año e hizo el equipo de vencer el cáncer. Formado con los miembros de su equipo, Evan, Vanessa, Caleb y Lucas y Nathan, hasta ahora su equipo ha recaudado más de $15,000 en las últimas 4 semanas, lo que significa que están a medio camino de su meta, ya que es $30,000 para la Sociedad de Leucemia y Linfoma. La razón por la que Joseph se convirtió en parte de esta recaudación de fondos es que ha tenido muchos familiares y amigos en su vida afectados por el cáncer. A medida que continúa su campaña, se ha enterado de que varias personas más están afectadas por el cáncer, incluido su tío abuelo, quien falleció hace 3 años por causa de un linfoma. Joseph declaró: en cuanto más aprendo, más decido, me vuelvo a crear conciencia y recaudar fondos para apoyar la investigación del cáncer. Nos enorgullece mucho nuestro alumnado y esperamos que alcancen su meta. La fecha del baile de prom de este año será el 22 de abril en lugar a Sonoma Raceway en la sala de Carrusel. El tema de este año es la gala de blanco y negro y hemos comenzado a vender boletos y esperamos compartir más detalles. La semana pasada fue el espíritu escolar para mostrar nuestro entusiasmo para la reunión de todos los alumnos. El lunes fue vestir elegante o en pijamas, el martes fue vaqueros contra aliens, el miércoles nos vestimos de blanco para protestar por la violencia en las escuelas, el jueves fue vestirse como mamá de fútbol contra un papá de carne asada, el viernes era vestirse de colores fosforescentes, el viernes pasado se llevaron a cabo 2 eventos. Para comenzar, la convención de elección se llevó a cabo temprano. Los candidatos para un puesto ejecutivo, que es presidente, vicepresidente, relaciones públicas, secretaria, tesorero y persona de espíritu escolar. En asistencia también había 12 delegados de los grados 9, 10 y 11. Los delegados están a cargo de informar a los demás estudiantes sobre los temas que fueron discutidos para que los estudiantes puedan tomar una decisión informada al votar. El tema de la convención electoral fue cine. Los delegados estaban dando dulces y palomitas de maíz. También tenían que tener un nombre de equipo basado en una película y crearon un letrero. Había muchas actividades divertidas. Los candidatos hicieron karaoke y tuvimos nuestro primer debate presidencial. Luego los delegados tuvieron la oportunidad de hacer preguntas a los candidatos. Hoy los candidatos tenían cabinas. Era su última oportunidad de demostrar más sobre sí mismo para que la votación se lleve a cabo mañana durante clase. Las solicitudes generales miembros se abrirán el jueves. Nuestro tema de la reunión de primavera fue brillar en la oscuridad. Tuvimos luces varitas que iluminaban en la oscuridad y un par de actividades divertidas. Como la mayor parte de nuestro tipo se dedicó a los discursos de nuestros candidatos que se postulan para un puesto, ellos compartieron su propósito y por qué el alumnado debería votar por ellos. Hubo 2 actuaciones encantadoras, una de la banda de la escuela y la segunda del equipo de baile. Muchos de los estudiantes dijeron que esta fue la mejor reunión que ASB ha organizado. Nos hace muy felices recibir comentarios positivos a nuestros compañeros. Comenzaron los deportes de primavera. Nuestro equipo de béisbol ha comenzado a tener juegos. El equipo de natación y de tenis ha comenzado a tener encuentros. Como siempre, animamos a nuestros estudiantes atletas que les deseamos lo mejor. Todos estamos esperando que ya lleguen las vacaciones de primavera y me gustaría desearle a nuestra comunidad muchas bendiciones and thank you.
Thank you to both of us for doing that. That was fantastic. All right, trustee reports on activities. It's been a long time since we've all seen each other. Trustee Martin? Okay. Trustee Brown? Trustee Nelson?
Bien hecho. So this Thursday, I think I'll be attending as an alternate to 2x2x2 committee. So I will definitely be talking safety with them and any ideas there with the city council members. I think that's pretty much it. We were just here last week. So, yeah.
Have they given us a location for Thursday? Because we were going to go to Sonoma State.
I did get another notification, but it didn't say anything about
Yeah, I didn't
anywhere
say.
else other than City Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same invitation I'm receiving that says the city council chambers.
I think we should follow up to confirm, are we going to be at
I
Rowan Park or
will
are we going to
make-
be at Sonoma State?
Right, I will make sure I follow up, and I will send you both an
Great,
email.
thank you.
Great.
So, and Naomi, I didn't know Soccer Moms translated, so there you go.
There we go.
¿Dijiste mamás de soccer o de fútbol? Mamá de fútbol, okay.
Great. Great.
Yeah, so that's about it for me.
Great, thank you. I had the pleasure of attending the WASC committee meeting yesterday with Dr. Perez. So we met with a handful of the WASC committee members, and hopefully it went well. Hopefully I didn't screw anything up there. But other than that, it's only been a week. So, all right, super. Dr. Perez.
I'm forgetting details. Anyway, Sonoma State has invited Cotati Runner Park to sign an MOU that guarantees our students a spot at Sonoma State upon graduation if they meet the entrance requirement. I'm very excited. I was a little bit envious that Petaluma signed first, but it's okay. I am happy to be number 2. Next time we're going to be number 1. Anyway, we look forward to bringing this MOU to the board for approval on April 18th. So that's exciting news. In terms of
Automatic acceptance?
Well, there's a couple
guaranteed,
stipulations.
once they meet the requirements, it's an automatic acceptance, yes.
They have to do like the A to G requirements
Right.
and have
Yes.
a
They
certain
have to do the
GPA
requirements.
and things like that. But yeah, isn't
Yeah,
that exciting?
that-
I'm so excited.
Really awesome. Anyway, in terms of site visits, I had the pleasure of being on Rancho Cotati's campus. And, you know, speaking really about that time, it was really not a lot of classroom visits, but really working with Principal Ramey on the WASP visit and kind of the protocols and what they were working on. And spent some time with Anna Maria Young at John Reed. And also had time last week to be at UELF. There was so much buzz on the campus. The kindergartners designed spaceships after learning about space and how they can design a spaceship for travel. So every unique designs. 5-year-olds telling us this is why we included these different features on the spaceship. Very exciting work. And they also had a read-in in the evening. The rain started, so it was a small group, but they were cozied up with their jammies and their blankets, and they were listening to stories. So it was a really great evening at a UELF. I also met on Sunday. The committee met, the WASC visiting committee met with the team from Rancho Cotati, and I was able to join them. I did bow out of the tour. It was some heavy rains, but boy, they were troopers and visiting and toured the campus, including the TAG building. So, and you know, yesterday we met with the visiting committee with Trustee Wing. I also had an individual meeting with Jeff Richley, who is the WASC chair. He also talked about our work and our goals as a board, supporting student achievement and the work of the high school. So I informed them about that and, you know, reviewed some specific areas. And I want to thank all the staff members who contributed to making this WASC visit a positive experience. The committee chair said, gee, the principal has us working really hard and she has a rigorous schedule for us. And I'm like, as it should be. Anyway, so they are visiting programs, classrooms, and reviewing the document. It's a validation visit. And we're hoping to get accredited. I think things are going smoothly. But this is hours upon hours of preparation and work to make it to this day. So I'm really appreciative of the Rancho Cotati staff who has put in a lot of time on creating the document and working to what's their future and what's the future for kids and the goals. I'm proud to announce that we have 6 reading rescue tutors, 3 of them at John Reed and 3 of them at Richard Crane. So it worked out well, a little less than we expected, but still working well. Each tutor sees 2 students at least 3 times a week for 30 minutes sessions. They are the most enthusiastic and positive tutors. They talked about their personal experiences and struggling with reading. So that just makes them extra, demonstrating empathy and compassion for our kids. The kids are having a great time. There are good days and bad days, or rough days, just like in the classroom, but they're enjoying their time tutoring, and they will continue tutoring through May. So they had a pre-assessment, and that generates information for them to plan a lesson and tutoring lessons. So it's just exciting, because these are people that are very interested in becoming teachers. So we're going to entice them our way by providing positive tutoring, experiences. And I just want to wish everybody a happy spring break. And there's no better way to start spring break than ending on St. Patrick's Day. I hear one of the principals is getting slimed, so I may be on that campus on Friday to see the events. But thank you, that's my report.
Thank you. Roanoke Park Cotati Educators Association report. Mr. Messers.
Hi everybody, I've got a presentation, an actual presentation to show today. So we're gonna hopefully make it work properly. All right. Not perfect, but it'll do. First off, I wanted to acknowledge the 1-year anniversary of our strike last year. It was a really, really difficult time for everybody around here. It was upsetting to be outside of the classroom. I know that it's not something anybody looks back on fondly, but I'm proud of the work that was done to secure a 16.38% raise over 3 years. And I wanted to take some time to acknowledge Denise, Lisa, Emily, Nancy, Jim, Jenny, Joaquin, and Tracy for their leadership during that time, as well as all of the site reps and strike captains who took extra time out of their days leading up to it to plan and organize, and of course all of our members who stood strong and got us through that week and did what they could to make it possible. So thank you everybody for making that happen. Looking forward, tomorrow, teachers in Oakland, Sacramento, LA, and San Diego will be hosting events advocating for community schools. This is I think that something that I want as president of RIPSIA is to move toward organizing our union around the joy of building something better. I want people to be motivated by the idea that we can work together to make our district a place that we enjoy teaching in more, and that we feel more proud of what we're doing. Where we feel like our efforts and our organization are contributing to creating a better district that better serves our students and better serves our community. Community schools, reimagine our educational system to turn schools into community hubs that ensure all students come to school ready to learn. We are already doing some of these things in this district. It's been really exciting. We talked earlier about the social workers on the secondary campuses. I know at TMS that has made a huge positive impact for a lot of our students. We've been working with Seneca for a few years now, and reaching out to students to help keep them in school and help improve attendance and to provide them the support that they need to make it to school every day. And that's made a positive impact on a lot of students on our campus. The community schools program has been piloted in Oakland successfully. There are a few community schools in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, and Sacramento. And so these organizations, and this is something that's supported both by the state of California. I know that the Assistant Superintendent of Public Education for California will be speaking at one of the events tomorrow. And it's also supported strongly by the NEA as well as the CTA. I'm going to share a video that was put together by Oakland's school that has implemented this program. Hopefully it will work properly. There we go.
Details matter. Introducing Grammarly's Citations.
All right.
All children are filled with light, fire, and wonder. Every child needs nurturing and care for their light to shine, their fire to burn, and their sense of wonder to expand. But right now, our country remains divided by predictable patterns, high rates of violence, and a lack of connection. And in the middle of it all, our students kids come to school in a state that interferes with learning, carrying the baggage of fear, hunger, physical pain, and psychological distress. They don't have opportunities to play and learn after school and in the summer, and college seems like a faraway dream. It's only by coming together as a community that we can create thriving students who will climb to meet their full potential. That's going to take work. It's going to take a change in mindset. We must break the system built on division and build in its place a new model that connects individuals, families, neighborhoods, schools, and other institutions together with the understanding that our fates are linked. This country can only reach its potential if we help our children develop the skills required for success in school, career, and life. The goal is thriving students. The vision is community schools. Community schools are welcoming, fun, and attractive spaces for students and families to use before, during, and after the school day. In this approach, the school acts as the hub of the community, working with public and private partners to serve children, their families, and their neighborhood. Youth development opportunities, health, and social services are not seen as extra or complementary. They are integrated into the fabric of the school as an essential part of its DNA. Every community school responds to local needs, but all community schools provide a safe, healthy, and supportive environment for students. Collaborate with community partners to enhance learning and create enriching opportunities for students. Develop the knowledge and skills needed for students to succeed in college, career, and life. More and more schools and communities across the country are working toward the day when every school is a community school, providing every child with high-quality instruction with a focus on college and career, expanded learning opportunities beyond the school day, health, nutrition, and physical education, and strong family and community engagement. That includes access to crucial family support systems, such as housing, language learning, and employment. The road is long and the work is hard, but it's the most important work there is. Please join us as we work to create a nation full of community schools and thriving students.
So that's a pretty decent little rundown of what this kind of a system might look like and what the advantages of that would be. Like I said already, we've definitely been moving toward adding the kinds of services that would be required for this to be feasible. There's a ton of funding out there, both through the state as well as for CTA locals who demonstrate a commitment to working toward implementing this kind of a model and advocating for this kind of a model. It would take a ton of community outreach. It would take a real commitment to a permanent, ongoing voice in district decision-making for all stakeholders at all levels of leadership in the district. It would no longer be a matter of your voice ends after LCAP or after the election for the school board. It would be a consistent, persistent inclusion of community voices, both parents, community leaders, teachers, administrators, everybody, all of our stakeholders, students, of course. And moving toward that, toward a system more like that could have a huge positive benefit for our students. For more information about this, I've included a couple links in this presentation. I sent an email to all of the trustees already with this presentation in it. So if you want to review those links later and learn a little bit more about this kind of a program, that's a great place to do it. This is something I'm going to be bringing to our membership. This is kind of me announcing it. If you have questions about how I'm going to convince the teachers that this is the right way to go, I do not have answers to that yet. But I will be bringing it to people. I've already shared it out to our leadership group, our site reps, and our bargaining team. And it is something that is strongly advocated for by CTA and NEA. It's not something where we would be bucking the rest of the educational labor community to go and pursue it. So I will definitely be paying close attention to the events happening tomorrow and trying to catch some streams of what people have to say about it. And I hope that this has been informative and interesting to all of you.
Great. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for bringing that up. When SCO hosted the dinner last month, 2 months, whenever it was, sometime in February, the gentleman that spoke was talking about community schools and what an impact it's made in California. And he asked, because it was all of Sonoma County, they asked if any districts currently had what they would consider a community school. And a couple districts did raise their hands, so SCO may also be a resource to help with getting that. But I think, Dr. Perez, you had some...
Well, we have a school that has been very interested in opening a family resource center, and that is John Reed. So we currently, we received a grant, and it's really CPI, work in partnership with CPI, and we are actively looking, if we can get the word out, for 3 community health workers. We are looking for 3 bilingual folks, and they will travel they will be housed at John Reed. They're very mobile, so they'll be at John Reed. They'll also be at the Petaluma Health Clinic, and they'll be connecting families to services. So this is a really good beginning of a community schools concept. I've been involved with that in my very first district, and I believe in it firmly. We are also have another grant that we're working with CPI, where I haven't even talked to the principal. I didn't want to say anything, but we're trying to open a wellness center also at the secondary level. So currently the challenge is finding that staff. So we've been asked to help recruit. So if anyone knows any wonderful people that want to serve the Latino community, that are bilingual and help connect people to resources, we're on our way, and I fully support it. It is a lot of work, and I'm reaching out to partners to get this going, because it's really important work, because we need to serve our kids in this manner. So thank you. I appreciate the video, and I look forward to partnering.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other trustees have any questions? Or?
Yeah, I was a lot of the things in the video are our goals, that we do sit back as a board and develop goals for our superintendent and our staff to do, and then we step back and let them do that. We, welcome the partners of all our teachers and everybody to do that. And when we've had, meetings to establish those goals in the past, we haven't had the representation of everybody. So, I welcome you to pay attention and to do that and participate, so that we can work together, for all the. And then did you mention that there's funding or grants from this organization? Did I hear you say that?
There are NEA grants for local organizations like RIPSIA that demonstrate a commitment to advocating for community schools. In addition, I know that there was a significant increase in federal funding for establishing community schools and for getting the community liaison type positions filled, which is basically a coordinator for the whole program within a site.
Right. And then you said tomorrow they're meeting there was Oakland and San Francisco. Who's meeting?
It's each of these, they're all different events, but they're all aimed toward community education on community schools. So they're put on by the locals, the CTA locals in those areas. There's one in Sacramento. There's a combination of 3 of the CTA locals.
Who are they inviting? I mean, are they inviting school boards and administrators, or
they're inviting the stakeholders in the community, including
or
the
people from the
leadership.
community too?
Yeah, community
Also?
leaders, parents, students. The point of this is to make it as inclusive and to bring some real true democracy to the system, where people are included in an ongoing way in decision making. So when it comes to make something like this happen, you have to have a ton of community buy-in from the very beginning. For some of these places, they already have a program like this. Some of them, they're trying to establish one. They need to reach out to the community. They need to reach out to everybody involved and share out why this is such an important thing and why it's a thing that they want to pursue.
Well, as you know, Ben, and we know, and the more we can get community involvement, the more success we will have for our students. So I welcome any other ways to get parents involved and community. So thanks for this, and hopefully it's successful in bringing more parents into the fold.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as a side note for my fellow trustees, Ben's email went to our spam folder in your CRP, so look for it there. I just wanted to make sure we got it, and I had a feeling that's where it went. So
Good to know. Thank you.
yes, look for it there. Thank you. We have no report from CSEA or SEIU, and I believe we have no receipt of official correspondence. Is that right? All right. No public comment for items on the agenda. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve items 8A through K?
I'll make a motion to approve 8A through K.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy. Educational Services, approval of LCAP federal addendum. Mr. Marshall.
So Mr. Marshall is going to present on the LCAP addendum. Just as a small reminder, the LCAP addendum was created to take into consideration what we do with our federal funds. So we have our state funding, and the federal government said, you need an addendum to see how you're addressing and connecting that LCAP with your federal funding. And he's going to provide an overview of that this evening.
There we go. Hello again, everybody. Matt Marshall, Director of Student Services, here to talk about the LCAP federal addendum. So on the surface, I mean, what is the federal addendum? It's a compliance document, so not super exciting. It's required by the Every Student Succeeds Act from the Obama administration. As you might remember, when local control funding formula and LCAP came out long ago, the LCAP was supposed to be it, the only document we did. It was streamlined, but now there's attachments to that. So it basically lists how the district and the LCAP support students using federal funds, which are Title I, II, III, and Title IV. And we're supposed to be updating the federal addendum whenever there's a significant LCAP change. And we've made several changes over the last couple of years. Specifically, we have a focus goal, Goal 5, for English learners. And so it was time to update the federal addendum. So I'm just going to take you through, this is not an all-inclusive list, but kind of a summary of how we address Title I through IV. So Title I is about supporting unduplicated pupils. And in it, we talk about how we hire and maintain high-quality teachers. We review parent outreach and input, like the LCAP committee, DLAC, site councils, literacy nights, back-to-school nights, principals' letters, everything we do, to reach out to our community. We also address foster and homeless students and their families and how we support them, purchasing them school supplies, providing transportation for them, making sure that when they show up on our doorsteps, they get enrolled immediately, no questions asked, in you go. We also discuss how we support our targeted assisted schools, like with YMCA after school support, PBIS, SOS counseling, some of the other things that we've mentioned in other presentations today. Some schools they do step-up days, college and career curriculum. Part of Title I, in the federal addendum, they want to know if we have school libraries. You'd be happy to know that we do have school libraries, and a lot of them received a lot of new support this year, technology, books. So we're doing a great job there. And the last section in this particular area is working with students who are released from correctional facilities. And we work through SCO when that does happen. And Title II is all about teacher capacity and development. As an example, all of our new teachers go through the North Coast School of Education for induction. It's a 2-year program, and they have to complete it within the first 5 years of their of employment. We offer teacher training in a wide variety of areas. We have PBIS teams where we do restorative work. We offer PROACT. Every school is represented at the CAPS network with professional learning communities, and we have new curriculum training when we have adoptions like with ELD or English or math. Our site master schedules also include time for teacher collaboration, so our teachers actually have time to meet and work together. And our professional calendar currently has 3 days of professional development for staff. And lastly, we have ed specialists in ELA and math to support those programs. In Title III, it's about ELD instruction and training to support immigrant children. So we're required to progress monitor, and we do that with Renaissance Star and Easy CBM to see how well they're doing. We also use Rosetta Stone to support students. And when students get redesignated, meaning they basically graduate out of EL services, we track and monitor their progress to make sure that now that they're not in an EL status, are they successful in their regular academic programs? All of our teachers are SEDI or CLAD trained, meaning they have specialized training in working with EL students. And we have paraprofessionals that support students that are mainstreamed in regular academic classes. And we do have an ed specialist for ELD. And finally, with Title IV, this is the broadest category. It is for supporting students and providing a well-rounded education. We do partner with outside agencies. That's one of the questions that the federal addendum asks. What outside agencies do you work with? And I went over this in the previous presentation, but Keeping Kids in School, YMCA, Seneca, SOS, and it's a lengthy list. We provide suicide prevention training in all of our secondary schools. We already know quite a bit about the Stop It app, restorative resources, PBIS. Those are all interventions that we use. In the addendum, it asks about the technology, and this district has great technology. Every student has an electronic device, and in addition to that, our schools also have computer labs and computers in the library, which is terrific. And all of our classrooms have state-of-the-art technology. It's really impressive to see, and our libraries as well. We also utilize Edgenuity online, the VLA, the Virtual Learning Academy, Home and Hospital Independent Study for students that need alternative settings to be successful, or they may have suffered an injury and need home and hospital. And then they want to know about our well-rounded course offerings, which we offer a great diversity of courses, and now we offer Spanish in middle school, which is terrific. And there's a section about how well-maintained our schools are, and we have great educational environments, not only for our staff, but our students and our community. And then they want to know, in what ways do we seek input? And as an example, we look at the Youth Truth Survey, California Healthy Kids Survey, we have LCAP surveys, sites have their own surveys, so quite a bit. So that is the LCAP federal addendum, and like I said, it points out how we meet the needs of students in Title I through IV, and with your approval, then that will be side by side with the LCAP.
Great, thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions or discussions? Great. Can I get a motion to approve the approval of the LCAP federal addendum?
I move we approve that.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy.
That's 4 out of 4, not 9 out of 10.
All right, with this, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Call the meeting back to order. We have nothing for personnel services. Business and operations services. There's no public comment, so approval of transportation plan.
I thought there was one comment you said.
No, there is no comment.
Got excited for a second.
Nobody has called in, correctly?
Yeah. So as a condition of receiving the 60% of our prior year transportation costs, the districts are being asked to describe our current transportation services, which I did in the plan. I'm here to answer any questions if you have any. Otherwise, as you know, we don't operate our own bus system. Transportation is provided through a contracted service provider.
Great. Does anyone have any questions about the transportation plan?
Nope.
If the public is wondering why we allowed via in-person or remote to call, it was part of the, it's a requirement of this plan that you allow people to either be in person or call, so that's why that's there.
John, if we ever did decide we wanted to operate our own fleet,
I bought left a bus from convention when I went last year.
we don't even have, like, we don't have even the facilities to even start, right?
Yeah, that would take a lot. I mean, as it is right now, we spend $2.3 million on the transportation that we provide to our students, which is, to one of our elementary schools and all of our special ed students. And I've run transportation departments, and it's difficult. West County Transportation, which is who we contract with. They're a huge organization and centrally located in this county, and can't find bus drivers to drive. Like, if that were up to us, that would be a very. I think Jen would have a conniption over trying to find those people for us. So.
Well,
besides the equipment necessary.
The cost would double or triple.
Yeah.
For it to do, I mean, the economy of scale, yeah.
Does Petaluma have their own, or are they doing West County?
Oklahoma Valley.
All right. Any other questions, or? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the transportation plan?
I move that we approve the transportation plan.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy. All right. Board services, fiscal planning and update.
I have one item under this item to talk about is enrollment. I apologize for having that mistake that you guys caught very well last month. But we had a net gain of 13 students into our district in February. We had 20 students leave the district, 3 to private schools, 4 to out of county, 5 within the county, and 8 other. And then we had 36 enter the district. 1 was 2 from private or homeschool kids, 15 from out of county, which the majority of those are from out of the country. 12 are from within the county, and 7 others. So 6,004 is our current enrollment as of February 28th.
Great. So for the Virtual Learning Academy, is it just a coincidence they are all at Thomas Page, or is that just where we're assigning them to right now?
Yes, that's where they have to have a school of record.
Right.
That exists. Like we considered creating a school called Virtual Learning Academy, but became very complicated.
Right. But in the past, we used to have, like,
yes.
if I went to Monte Vista, then I
Right.
chose, I'd be assigned to Monte Vista. Now we're just assigning them all to Thomas
Yes.
Page? Okay. Great. Any other questions for John about attendance or enrollment? Great. Thank you. All right, second interim report.
12B.
So I'll try to keep this brief, as I always have in my plan to do. I do want to reflect for 1 second where we are today versus where we were a year ago. Ben brought up that it's the year anniversary. The year anniversary of this report was so dire that we self-proclaimed our we self-certified as qualified because we we were looking at huge deficits and even though we gave the raise the way we gave it, the governor came through with so much funding for us that we're out of those woods now, and this report will solidify that. And I also want to thank my staff. Molly who's here tonight, has a big part in putting the report together that's in front of you. If anything, there's quite a lot. I was just talking to Eric before the meeting started, and he's like, "Wow," and I was like, "Yeah, there's a lot of work that gets done to that." If anything, just read the narratives and the multi-year projection assumptions, because that's what we're working with. So anyway, to move on. Sorry for that. Second interim report is the second of 2 interim reports for the board. Ed Code requires the board to certify the district's ability to meet its financial obligations. We're updating the district budget for changes in revenues and expenditures since first interim, which was in October, presented in December. The enclosed projections are created with the most current information available. They are not forecasts, and multi-year projections will change anytime the underlying factors change. So we're in March of the state budget process. I show this most every time. In April, COLA will be recalculated again. In May, we'll get a May revise of the governor's budget. And in June, we'll be presenting the estimated actuals for this year and the new budget cycle, which would be 23-24 through 25-26. Good Lord. So these are the building factors for what we're using in the budget. As I mentioned one of the last times I talked to you, the big story of 23-24 is the COLA of 8.13%. Thereafter, it does go down compared to what was presented at first interim, but one of the other important things to notice in this is the highlighted PERS employer rates. PERS was increased by the PERS rate that we pay on behalf of employees is increasing 1.8% over what was projected for 23-24 at first interim, and 3.5% in 24-25, and these are significant. So if you look at the bottom of this chart, I think what I stressed at the first interim was how difficult it is to predict or project what our enrollment in ADA is going to be. I mean, it's all over the place. Our P1 ADA was just under 92%. To project that we're going to hit our historical levels would be great on paper, but if we don't hit them, then we'd see huge deltas in revenue projections. So we're looking at right around the 92.5% projected ADA. I'll go into a little bit more of that in a second. So what's changed since first interim? We've adjusted the salaries and benefits to reflect actual projected costs. PERS rates, obviously, were increased. We had to make some adjustments in utilities and our substitute projected costs. Those are increasing at a higher than normal level. Local budgets are always adjusted as actual donations are received, and contributions to special ed and M&O are adjusted closer to what the actual projected costs are projected to be. So I just wanted to remind you of pension reform. I know these are small, but the PERS rates are continuing to grow. Just when the LCFF started, 12, 13, 14 area, like, you can see that we're going from 11.8% as a contribution towards for PERS. We're now at, projected to go to 28.1%. That's increased over 4 times. What's increased over 4 times is the actual contributions. Was about $2 million in 12-13, and it's projected to be over $8 million. So as the governor's given us more money in the local control funding formula, we've seen higher than projected at that time, for sure, contributions to our pensions. So, again, these are our key assumptions that we're using to build our budget and out-year, multi-year projections. The COLA funding assumptions, step and column, which is the increase that every employee goes up, assuming they're moving up a step. It's about 1.5% annually. Health and welfare costs are increasing. Well, we're projecting them to increase by 4%. The PERS costs, as mentioned earlier. So for the ADA, remember we can use the higher of the current year or prior year, or the average of the last 3. And so for 22-23, we're projecting to be funded at our prior year ADA. For 23-24, we're currently projected to be funded at the of that year's P2 ADA, which is at like 92.5%, as assumed at this point. And then in 24-25. So hard to predict because, our enrollment for even next year is so volatile. Volatile meaning, it's hard to predict where our students are gonna fall at our schools, and that's kind of what I'm using to project. So we have some small or bigger senior classes in a couple years that are being replaced with smaller kindergarten classes at this point. So I expect this to change several times before it actually comes to fruition, but these are the assumptions we're using for right now. We have, we're rounding out our 3-year contract with all our employees of a 5.38% salary increase for 23-24, which is included in the multi-year projection, and the COLA in 24-25 is 3.54%, which without negotiating, I didn't include it in the MYP, but I did include it below the line, and I'll show you what I did that first interim as well. So, a mantra that I have to allow myself to believe is that underestimating uncertainty, no matter what we use to project, will be incorrect. And this is just a chart, again, of our health and welfare costs over the last 10 years. Again, we've more than doubled our contribution to health and welfare for employees since 2012-13, and it's projected to be almost $12.5 million in 2024-25. All right. Go through these quick, but our unrestricted revenue is about $71 million combined, 94 million. And you can see, just for your edification, everyone's heard me say this before, but our local funds, or other local revenue on the unrestricted side, includes the parcel tax revenue and the casino funds, which is both about $1.3 million each, so almost, 2.6 million, which is the majority of our local revenue.
Parcel tax goes away when, again, to help us remind that?
Well,
or expires?
We hope to.
No, let me rephrase that.
Yes,
when does the current parcel tax?
2025.
2025. 24, 25?
June of 2025.
Okay, June of 25, okay.
So one-time revenue accounts for $8.6 million of the restricted budget, which is unrestricted plus restricted to make the combined. We have about $9.6 million left to spend one-time dollars with due dates between 2024 and through 2028. So that's going to be all over the place over the next couple of years as well. So this is just the graphical pictures of the revenue, and as you can see, the majority of, I always say this, I don't know why, but the majority of our funding is coming from our local control funding formula.
I can't see that.
Our expenditures, in the unrestricted budget, it's about 55 million, 55.5 million, total 91. 85% of our unrestricted budget goes towards people, and 76-ish of our total general fund goes towards salaries and benefits. That's just the geographical look of each unrestricted and restricted. So there's always a change between reports. We were estimating a surplus of $1.8 million at first interim for this year. And this is on the unrestricted side of the budget. And the major changes, we increased our LCFF funding due to ADA adjustments and mostly the UPP, unduplicated pupil count percentage. We didn't have certified numbers at first interim. And probably the biggest couple on the expenditure side are certificated salaries, which really accounts for the increase in sub costs that we're seeing that was versus what we budgeted for to begin with. I adjusted our utility budgets because we're seeing huge increases in PG&E and gas, in our PG&E and gas bills, and we have over 50 teachers in our teacher induction program, which we pay $3,500 per teacher to attend, and that was not budgeted for at the beginning of the year. There's also an offset to that a little bit because they give us the teacher induction program gives us some money to help pay for the stipends that the mentor teachers get, so that's you see in the other local revenue. And then at budget, the $539,382 number was a transfer from our reserve Fund 17 to Fund 1, and it was needed at budget time based on what our budget was, but we definitely don't need that now because we're getting way more money than we expected at the beginning of the year. So that does take away from what our surplus is going to be, but it doesn't take away from our reserve. It's just a transfer. So I'll just say we're going to see a surplus. We should likely see a surplus of about $1 million in our unrestricted budget in 22-23. Any questions about that? Yeah.
What typically happens with the surplus?
Surplus just goes to our ending balance, which becomes our reserve. I'll show you what we're going to do with that, but yeah, does that answer your question? Yeah. So, so we transfer from our unrestricted budget to our restricted budget, $14 million, $12.8 million goes to special ed, and 1.5 to routine restricted maintenance, which is about 3%, 3% of our budget. So the second interim general fund summary, unrestricted, you can see the $1 million of surplus, the beginning fund balance. I expect we're gonna get some news on whether or not we're gonna adopt a math curriculum, but either way, we want to save the money for that, which is the $1 million. And I know I talked about this before, and I can't find anything about it in board policy necessarily, but we want to keep a 4% reserve left. Maybe you can speak to that. We have a 3% requirement, but this board has always asked that we save 4%. So to get us 4% in Fund 17, I need to transfer $827,000 to Fund 17 to make it 4% of our budget, or 4% of our reserve. And then all of that equals that we have a reserve percentage of 10%.
What's the maximum reserve we're allowed to have now?
10%.
That is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the out years, based on all those assumptions that we talked about, we're gonna see surpluses in the out years, 1.4 million and 2 million. You could see the adjustments to keep the 4% in Fund 17. The technology refresh, I think I talked about a little bit one of the last times, but we have a huge infrastructure technology project that's coming up in the next 2 years that we need to save some money for, and I want to do that with some of these excess reserves. And because there really isn't, I expect we won't have any bond money, and we'll talk more about that because you'll see some proposals in the next, soon. Rob, I'm looking at Rob.
Well, John, part of that is assessing, what's our investment in technology total, and then when does that technology become obsolete?
Well,
unfortunately,
I'm talking about the network, the infrastructure.
Okay, well you've got network, but then too we have all the rest of technology.
Yeah.
The network's one thing to keep the stuff going, but if this is obsolete or this is obsolete.
One of the things that you guys approved tonight in the consent agenda was the purchase of
Chromes
and
some
right,
and
and that's going to
iPads.
last us 6 to 7 years. But
That
there
was
is an
just
ongoing
part of it.
Yeah, there's an ongoing. The network infrastructure. Rob will talk to us more in detail in the next month or two about what we're looking at in 2025. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That we desperately need to find some money for. So that's that idea. And then, like I said earlier, in 24-25, $1.9 million equates to about 3.54% increase for all groups. So we can't budget for it because we haven't negotiated it, but as I said earlier, we're kind of below the line saying this is there for you for salary increases. Any questions about that, or any more questions?
So you said the parcel tax is going to expire June of 2025. So if we want to continue that on, we would need to get it on the November 2024 ballot. Is that right?
Yeah, I want to bring you. We should, over the next couple months, we need to seriously talk about when we want to do that. We don't want to do it right before, because if it doesn't pass, we want to have another opportunity to do it. The parcel tax is one of the lowest parcel taxes around, $85, whatever it is, $89, excuse me, per parcel. I mean, I'd like to get a survey out through a firm to see if there's any interest in increasing that, or maybe doing an inflator or something. I mean, we're only going to see increased costs over the next several years, and I'd like to see that keep up with the.
So if November 2024 is too late, are you thinking November 2023?
I'm not saying it's too late. I just want to potentially talk
If
about.
it doesn't pass, then it's too late.
Doing something before that.
So are we?
There's another election time before after November. There's April, right?
A special election?
Yeah.
And then is parcel the easier one? How much does it have to pass by to go? Do you
Are
know?
we 66%? Yeah. Parcel taxes are difficult.
That's the hard one. Bonds are the
Bonds are
lower?
lower, 50, 55, is it? I forget. Bonds are not fairly easy, but much easier to pass. It's just getting to that next level up to go from there. So
is there, I'm sure there's so much strategy in this, but is there strategy to do the parcel tax during a special election because less people are actually voting?
That's where you hire the consultants. The consultants can show you what your best options are, what the best percentages are, what the best tactics are to pass a parcel. I mean, everyone believes that schools need more money. It's just a matter of getting the voters.
Yeah. I'd like to get a consultant out here to present to you guys to
it's
give
the
us
state
some
of the
options.
economy. There's a whole bunch of variables that will.
If we just kept it at $89, I'd be fine with that too. I just want to see I'd like to see what the interest is out there to potentially increase it if possible.
On a similar topic, do I remember correctly that if the school district went to solar power, we would save 30% on our current bill?
Oh, Eric, you're talking my language here. That would take. I would love to see solar on all our campuses. That would be a huge goal of mine, and in previous districts that I've done this at, we've wiped out 100%, almost 100% of our PG&E bill. That's for electricity, right? We actually use PG&E for our gas delivery as well. But anyway, that's $1 million savings for us.
Yeah, our
But it
PG&E bill used to be like $50,000 a month. Now we're pushing $150,000.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So,
but there are other programs. If we don't go out for a bond, I don't know if we really want to talk about this now, but I'm glad to. there are other options for us to, I can have a consultant talk to us about that too, but one of the things that we have had SiteLogic do for us, which you approved last week, was to apply for the sites that we would have solar on, which would be every site, to take advantage of the current net metering rates, because the program's going to change in April
2 weeks.
to a lower. Yeah, we're well within. We're going to be fine.
Right.
We're going to grandfather ourselves into the better rates, but so I appreciate that you passed that. And then, in doing that research, there are some options for us if we don't want to go out for a bond, which I would be glad to get some information about that too. To get solar on our campuses. So, any other
Is
questions?
that something we need to vote on to get that consulting? Because I am aware of
Yes,
the
to
April.
go out to have a consultant, yes, we would vote on spending the money to have a consultant go out and do that study. So it would be an agenda item, and then we would vote on it whether or not we wanted to go out to
If
do
there's
that.
interest in doing that, I'm glad to bring that.
I think there's interest just because, like you said, the net metering changes go in effect very soon, and they will retro it if you start before.
We put ourselves in a position to take advantage of the old rates no matter what. So,
Okay.
yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to have an agenda item going future to
Okay.
show us the cost of putting solar. You know, you're gonna have to use some bond money to spend money up front, but
Okay.
the
Great.
payback type
I
thing.
love it. Thank you. We'll do it.
We're here for you, John.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, just because we always hear, the huge swings in revenue assumptions or whatever, I always like to, I'm now adding this as part of my presentation, but as you can see, we have increased our revenues on the unrestricted side since budget adoption, which was in June of last year, to now. Went from 66.5 million to 70.8 million, and there are reasons for that. Information changed. We got new information, or COLAs were different, or ADA assumptions changed. You know, there's stories around all of these things. And to follow suit, our expenditures have increased over that time too. So, anyway, any questions on that? Great. So, we're at certification time. Tidy Roanoke Park will be able to meet its current financial obligations in this year and the subsequent 2 years. Yay. This is not the case last year, as I started this presentation as saying. So we're looking to self-certify as positive. Cash flow, just so you know, the $3 million that we will have in Fund 17 doesn't even last us a month worth of payroll. So that puts that into reality. So the more we'd like to be able to. I've had districts where
The more we have, the less we have to borrow.
yeah, exactly. So the areas of financial concern, as always, is the enrollment and ADA trends. It's more about ADA than enrollment because we're seeing improved enrollment over the last couple of years. The future impact of STRS and PERS and COLA. COLA, whether or not the state can fund all of COLA is a question. Technology, increases in the cost of doing business, just like I said earlier, utilities and things are killing us. We see, employees see inflation, but so does the school district. Special ed costs, you know, if we're not in an economic downturn already, there's an inevitable one that's everyone's saying within the next 12 to 18 months and future collective bargaining. All right, any questions? Ooh. Thank you.
Anything else? I think we're
No,
good.
he used his 10 minutes up, so
Oh.
I don't have time for questions.
We're going to have them start putting a little timer on for you, John. It's going to beep at 10 minutes.
When I go through this in my head, it's definitely 10 minutes. But
So one question, John, how's the current interest
Thumbs up.
rates and the Fed and all that stuff? Well, yes.
That's
No,
going to
no-
be way more than 10 minutes.
No, it doesn't do it. But if you go back to, you know, what drives STRS and PERS up is the state of the economy and how well those investment funds are
Which is why
maintained and
PERS
how they
PERS
grow. And
increased,
if they
yeah.
don't grow proportionately with the market, then it has to be funded by the agencies. So,
the state could throw some money at it. They aren't, there's no plan to do that, but, so it is on the backs of the districts, which is
Pardon me?
unfortunate.
well, no, it's just, you know,
But you're right in a lot of ways. That's why PERS doesn't have, PERS board can increase the rates whenever they want. STRS has to go through the legislative branch to, takes the legislative branch to increase STRS rates, so. But it.
so
you're absolutely-
inevitable, there's a lot of factors outside of your control.
Yeah.
In
And
our
these
control.
are costs that we can't do anything about. We have to pay it.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
don't know if I said that earlier. Everyone understands that, but
Yeah.
these are expenditures that we have no control of.
Right. So,
Great. Any other questions or discussion? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the second interim report as positive as of January 30th, 2023?
I move that we approve the second interim report.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy. Acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district.
We have a donation for Technology Middle School, wood supplies for the wood shop. That's really wonderful work, and we're asking for acceptance of this $1,000 value item.
That's fantastic. Oops, am I on? Yeah. Can I get a motion to approve the acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district?
I move that we approve, let's see, what is that, 12C?
Yes.
Acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0 with one vacancy. I'd like to make it note that we did not have any APs or ARs for left this week. There we go. Future business and agenda items. Trustee Martin, anything?
You know, I was curious as we were sitting here tonight, just thinking about our enrollment and the demographics, and then thinking about our board vacancy. I know what we do when there's an active board vacancy, but I was wondering, outside of that, being proactive, what do we do to search for candidates, prepare people to be on a school board? So I would like to talk about that.
Wonderful. Trustee Brown?
Nothing, thank you.
All right. Trustee Nelson?
I am a little bit concerned about that mailer that went out. My father-in-law recently passed, and his records, or his mail now goes to us, but we got that in our mail, and we're definitely not in Area 2, so, or I'd be in trouble. So, I do want to check on that, and I would like, if we need to vote on it or make a motion or anything, look at solar proposals. I mean, yeah, we're not going to be generating a lot of solar power right now, but
Oh, gee, yeah.
year round, I think we could definitely do with that.
The historical thing on the solar is we told that it didn't pencil out from previous administrators. So it does take a significant investment for bond money. And I think at the time we were rolling most of our bond money into this building and other facilities. So
Yeah, it's
they didn't want to.
capital asset expenditure, right?
Well, yeah. So it's not part of the, I mean, you'd bankrupt your general fund if you started taking out of there. But I agree. I mean, I think solar would be a great thing, and especially in light of being here a while, seeing the PG&E bill almost triple. It's like, ouch, that $150,000 a month could go towards educating kids in programs. So if you can be more efficient with your energies, long run, and keep more money in the general fund, because that $150,000 comes out of the general fund, every month. So, I mean, if you want to look at it, it could be 3 teachers, 3 beginning teachers.
I think you have it on the list, right? As an future topic. Yeah. Perfect. Wonderful. Anything else? All right. We do not need to reconvene to closed session. So with that, the meeting's adjourned.